This is TechCrunch.
Meta's enormous bet on virtual reality ended last week, with the company reportedly laying off roughly 1,500 employees from its Reality Labs division, about 10% of the unit's staff, and shutting down several VR game studios, according to the Wall Street Journal. It's a huge reversal for a company that just 4 years ago staked its entire identity on the concept. Few are going to miss it. As industry watchers might remember, Facebook rebranded itself as Meta in 2021, promising to usher in a new era of technology led by VR devices. In part, the decision was a bet on Gen Z's preference to socialize in online games like Fortnite and Roblox, as opposed to traditional social media apps. The change also helped Meta distance itself from the negativity surrounding its Facebook brand. Over the years, the brand had been damaged by data privacy scandals like Cambridge Analytica. Reports from Facebook whistleblower Frances Haugen, who shared documents indicating Facebook knew of its negative impacts on children and teens. Congressional hearings over Facebook's digital surveillance, its role in the spread of misinformation, its monopolistic practices, and more. Meta's vision at the time was that the metaverse would be the next big social platform, where users connected in a virtual world via Meta's Horizon Worlds app and played games on their VR headsets. Fast forward, and the metaverse has effectively been abandoned in favor of AI. According to CNBC, some of the casualties include studios making VR titles inside Meta, like Armature Studio, Twisted Pixel, and Sanzaru. Meanwhile, the VR fitness app Supernatural, which Meta acquired in 2023 for $400 million, will no longer produce new content and will move into maintenance mode. In a report by GeekWire Camouflage, the studio behind the Batman Arkham Shadow VR game has also been impacted by layoffs. And last week, The Verge noted that Meta's program to bring VR to workrooms, is shutting down as well. The news follows an earlier Bloomberg report from December, which said that Meta was slashing the virtual reality department's budget by up to 30%. Around the same time, Meta announced that it was pausing its program to share its Meta Horizon operating system, which runs on its Quest-branded VR headsets with other third-party headset device makers. Unlike the news of Meta's rebrand, the deprioritization of the company's metaverse efforts should come as no surprise. The division lost money at an excessive rate, worrying investors, and had never turned a profit. In total, the company had funneled some $73 billion into Reality Labs. To put that into context, you'd have to spend $1 million per day for 200 years to match that kind of spending. Besides being overhyped by investors and analysts alike, initial versions of the metaverse were just bad products. The goofy, soulless avatars didn't even have legs. And one metaverse selfie of Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg was so bad it even became a viral meme. In short, Meta was overpromising a future while its product was still underdelivered. It was a failure of the build-in-the-open model, where early tech products are shipped to consumers in hopes of getting feedback that can be used to iterate. That model works when customers are actively interested in a technology. But in the case of the metaverse, there was only middling consumer demand. Though Meta quickly gained a majority share of the VR market with its Oculus headsets, the headsets saw declining sales. Last spring, Counterpoint Research noted that global VR headset shipments had fallen by 12% year over year in 2024, which was their third consecutive year of declines. Meta had accounted for 77% of those 2024 headset shipments. Meta, betting on the "if you build it, they will come" strategy, was more interested in the profits that could be made from running its own platform for apps and games than whether or not consumers even wanted these so-called face computers. Specifically, Zuckerberg was looking for a way to bypass the ability of Apple and Google to tap into Meta's revenue through their app stores. He proposed that the metaverse could grow to 1 billion people in the next decade, hosting hundreds of billions of dollars in digital commerce. Analysts like McKinsey & Company and investment bank Citi backed up this questionable forecast with their own heady estimates of the metaverse becoming a multi-trillion-dollar platform by 2030. Meta may have had dollar signs in its eyes, but the apps built for the metaverse weren't being adopted in massive numbers, at least for a company of Meta's size. Though there's no external visibility into Meta's own VR app store, You can look at Meta's apps with iOS and Android counterparts as a proxy for adoption. According to modeled estimates from app intelligence provider Apptopia, the Meta Horizon app has been downloaded 60 million times globally and 40 million times in the US since May 2018. Of course, had this all succeeded, Meta would have created a new social empire built on the back of VR gaming. Not unlike Facebook's early days as a social network, when partners like Zynga, whose games included Farmville and Words with Friends, drove double-digit revenue streams for Facebook. But this time, Zuckerberg telegraphed his desire to tap into developer revenue far too soon. Meta might have had a better shot at attracting developers to build for VR if it promised to undercut Apple or Google's standard 30% fees, or those of other gaming platforms. Instead, Meta did the opposite. It charged more. Even before VR became a sizable platform worth investing in, Meta announced its plans to take a whopping 48% of the sales of digital assets within Horizon Worlds, consisting of a 30% hardware platform fee and another 18% fee for Horizon Worlds itself. Creators were not happy, which is not surprising. On top of that, Meta wasn't building the metaverse with user safety as a top priority. As with its rush to scale its social network, the company tended to be reactive rather than proactive about safety features. For instance, the company only rolled out its personal boundary feature, which put a buffer between avatars, after reports that users were experiencing sexual harassment in the metaverse. In some cases, users had even engaged in virtual rape and gang rape in Meta's Horizon Worlds. Meta later dialed back the safety feature a bit by adjusting the personal boundary to only default to on when a user is engaging with non-friends in the metaverse and allowing users to switch it off entirely. Also, around this time, Meta declined to share the makeup of its team building the metaverse with TechCrunch. Another nail in the proverbial coffin for the metaverse was the success of Meta's Ray-Ban AR glasses, which have seen increased consumer interest in recent months. With features like the ability to record hands-free, stream music, and chat with Meta AI, the glasses began to outsell traditional Ray-Bans in some retail stores in 2024. The company is now considering doubling the output of the glasses to meet consumer demand. With an eye on AI, the company more recently introduced Ray-Ban Display last year, which are similar smart glasses that also include a display for apps, alerts, and directions on the right lens. The company has since paused its international plans for this product, citing unprecedented demand. With other companies, including OpenAI, Amazon, and various startups, looking to hardware eye devices as the next potential computing platform, VR seems even more of a dated relic of a vision for the web that never came to pass. Combine these factors, and particularly the adoption of AI as a possible app platform, make it hard for Meta to continue to justify spending on VR. Instead, Meta will focus on the products that have potential, like its Ray-Ban and AI glasses, AI apps growth, and large language models. That's it from TechCrunch. For more stories like this one, go to TechCrunch.com.